Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Red Rock Harley-Davidson. Vince Argentine, service manager, joining us once again with the Master Hiro Koiso. We're 2 weeks away. Thanks for coming back and seeing us. A lot of exciting things going on. We've got a really cool inside look at what Hiro's been spending a lot of time working on, getting ready for Bonneville, coming up at just at the end of this month. Real unique machine behind us here, Hiro. What year is this thing? What did this start as? How did it become to be what it is?
This bike is started out the 2006 Dyna Super Glide. So it's been modified, but I like to keep the Harley as possible. The frames, the main structure of the frame is still the Harley-Davidson. You don't see the gas tank there, but still VIN number is a Harley-Davidson. The swing arm, that's a steel stock swing arm, two swing arm cut and put together, then gained 6 more inches.
Wow, wow. And is this something you've been running for your whole Bonneville career? Did you just put this together for this year? How long have you been running this setup?
This is actually the same bike since 2008. We set 21 run speed record at the Bonneville on the same bike, but every year the configuration is different. Every year we try to make it better, faster, safer. So we rebuild the motorcycle, complete the crank and the screw, every single thing coming apart, then rebuild. So every year, same bike, but it's a rebuild and a new configuration.
And you had mentioned it still has a stock Harley VIN number, a somewhat stock Harley frame. What are some key differences between this bike and what we normally run?
So we're competing in a class called the Partially Streamline. So Partially Streamline is allowed to put fairing, which is the aerodynamic aid. So this designed to make the smallest hole in the air, then exit as smooth as possible. So that translates to the better aerodynamic, then add more speed.
Do you always run the fairing setup? Is that something that you have during every race?
We run both classes. This is considered a partially streamlined, and without fairing, it's an open bike class. It's called kind of like a naked bike. So it makes a huge difference in the speed. The 2017, we ran open bike class and did a 238 miles per hour top speed. 2018, last year, built this fairing and then run about the same horsepower. We did a 260 miles per hour the top speed. So that's a 30 miles per hour gain just adding this fairing.
That's a big difference, big difference. And there must be some way for them to monitor. Now, are there certain rules, specifications that you have to follow when it comes to building something like these fairings?
Yes, so we're competing the AMA national record and FIM world record. So they have a specific guideline on the partially streamlining. So we have to comply both AMA and FIM. They have a little bit different rule and limit. So for instance, this seat height, bottom of the seat to the top of the fender or tail section is FIM world record only allowed to 6 inches. So I built for 6 inches, but AMA national record there's no height limit, so you can go even higher. And the other thing is length out after the rear tire. AMA is 10 inches maximum. The FIM is like 40 centimeters. It's a little bit longer. So we just comply both world record and the national record rule.
With something this long, I mean, obviously way longer than a stock Harley, it's got to be pretty hard to turn, no?
We're competing on a straight line, but it's a pit road, and it's the hardest thing is pushing around inside the shop. We have to do like a 15-point turn. So it's only have a 15-degree steering turn angle. So that is a difference. The handlebars pulled as far as you can, and that makes the fairing even be able to narrower. So that's all about going a straight line and more aerodynamic.
Totally one of a kind, not like something I've ever seen. Where do you buy something like this, or where do you get a fairing like this? So
this is actually designed and fabricated by myself. So it was a tedious process. It took me 5 months, after hour till like 2-3 in the morning. So it was just a rebel rub, but that I had to do that because it has to be snug fit on my body in the gear to my body actually complete the fairing. So that my leg's gonna fit there, then boot's gonna fill between gap. So if I change the boost to something else than I'm designed for this, I can't even fit on this motorcycle.
Wow, it's something only the guys that have built it themselves would know. Now, that's a good question. Now, we've talked about last week, there's a lot of work that takes place on this bike during races. You take it back to the pit, there's adjustments and things that need to be made. Is that something that you take into account when you're building it? And if so, how?
Yes, once we go on the racing, so I rely on my crew to do the regular checkup or like fueling. So this motorcycle, the gas tanks on the top of rear fender is instead of on the top of the main frame, so I can tack down. The helmet's going to be lower. So when we do the fueling, it's like we don't have a time to take all this off. So I made this fuel access door. So it's a fresh mount. Once it's on there, it's completely fresh. But this parts come off. Then there's a gas cap that screws out. Then we get the fueling without taking the whole thing off. So this is a Harley-Davidson, the accessory fresh mount gas cap for the Sportster. So this is a Harley too.
Available right on the parts and accessory catalog here at Red Rock Harley-Davidson. So Hiro, we've got a lot of questions that came in last week. You know, where do you get your parts from? We know that you specially made the fairing. What about some of the other components? Are they one-off design? Is it something that's readily available to other riders?
It's mix of both. Like most of the stuff is I design it. Then, if I can, I send the design to the machine shop or the special manufacturer. This motorcycle cylinder is like designed for this year's attempt. So was a gasket, head bolt, even this supercharger bracket. So I designed on a computer, then send the file to the machine shop. But once they have a program to make one, it can be available. Just you have to ask me.
Sure, try. One of the other questions we had, Hiro, from last week is a lot of people were talking about nitrous and if that's something that you run on your motorcycle and if that's something that you're going to be running this year.
So we're running in a partially streamlined and the gasoline class on the fuel class. The gasoline class is that you have to run the spec gasoline buy from the race trailer at the Bonneville. Then we're going to change later the race week, we're going to change to the fuel class. The fuel class, you can run nitrous, nitromethane, alcohol, whatever you want. So after the class change, we're going to mount the nitrous bottle under the seat, then run the priming. Then the nitrous is considered as a power adder, so you can add whatever the horsepower you desire to. So we're gonna start it out around the 50 horsepower, but when you activate the nitrous, 50 horsepower gain on the top speed, like all of a sudden. So we have another computer called a progressive controller, so we can program the duration until the 50 horsepower fully kicks in, so it doesn't lose the traction on the salt like while you're doing the top speed. You don't want all of a sudden 50 horsepower unleashing then you're gonna lose the traction. So there's a lot of going on, a lot of tuning that's gonna take place.
We'll be watching you along the way, Hiro. Now, we know that you've been doing this for a long time. Are there any real significant issues from the past that you're dealing with this year, things you're focused on and improving on to get ready for the next couple weeks?
So every year I could try to make the motor reliable is the one thing. Then we made a ductile on the cylinder that just carved out. Last year, the first thing encounter was this. When we do a 260 miles pass, that front tire, it's called chunking. You can see the rubber pieces just flew off, then salt still cakes on. So that the centrifugal force on that tire works the way out to try expand it and then try delaminate it. So I did a calculation that tire, if you do 100 miles on the truck, that 1 ounce of tire was 38 pounds of a force then pulling out. So 1 ounce trying to the 38 sounds pretty crazy, right? But if you go 200 miles per hour, that 1 ounce rubber go to 160 pounds to pulling away. So when I do 265 miles per hour, we're shooting for this year, it's going to be 270 pounds. Every single 1 ounce of a patch, try pulling away for 270 pounds of force. So what we did was, this is the actual wheel and tire we're gonna run this year. So it had a carbon fiber, like a wind deflector on them, to make more aerodynamic. But what we did to tire, send this assembly to the tire special shop. They shape the rubber on the tire race. So it's an old school technology, but if you cut down 1 ounce of rubber to half, like 50 ounce, the centrifugal force to work on and take this apart is going to be the half. So that's what we're going to try this year. And I'm sure this is going to work. So this is the new for 2019, old school technology.
We like it. We like it. We'll be cheering you on the whole time, Hiro. Now, what kind of secrets? I mean, we've got a really good look at a machine with the fairing off, thing that you don't get to see every day. Do you have any secrets or anything you want to share with the people watching today?
So you don't see at all. Not everybody's talking about, but Bonneville sold. There was a traction. Getting the traction is always a challenge. So this bike, it's going to be like 1,000 pound loaded. So right now, don't have one. But I'm going to put back on as a ballast. So I have 160 pounds of weight, like a red shot or like a red melted plates, like put on the bottom of the motorcycle that just distribute the weight. So that put down more traction to the motorcycle. So the placement is important. So you can't just put on the back. That's going to make it unstable, so you have to be careful with picking up the center of the weight towards the center of the pressure with the fairing. So it's all things count, but it's just like a weight is not everybody notice. Like people think that race bike has to be lighter, but not the case at the Bonneville.
Well, Hiro, we really appreciate your time. We're going to let you go. We know you got a lot of work to still finish up these next couple of weeks. You guys, next week we're going to take a little bit more of an in-depth look at the tuning, the performance, the motor, the heart of this thing, and what Hiro's going to be putting under them in just a couple weeks in Bonneville. So ride safe. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.